the top, and then you go to design and quick layout. And that's my quick layout. That's my favorite one. You know, it's the chart title, it's all this stuff. Yeah, also, I'll show this again real quick. You got all these options, you got so many cool things, it's so nice.
Gary! I was just looking for the sports channel.
Hey everybody, how are we doing? It is time to Kahoot. Let me take down the Marvel screen right here. We got the Kahoot in the background. We don't have our music though. We always go disco music here. That's what we always do. How is everyone doing? Good to see you here. William, Jesse, Chanel, William, Grace, two Williams. Same William. We got here Caitlin, Maria, Nina, Deanna, Danielle, Madison, Lauren, Caitlin. We got Mewbot here. Everyone's here. Kajal, good to see you here, Kajal. Everybody's here. We're going to play some Kahoot. Let our hair down. So we go. Hey, Alexandra, good to see you here. One of these days when I cut my hair, it just won't be the same. Just keep thinking, what if I grow my hair all the way? Like, what if I have just, I don't know. What if alternate universe Brian never cuts his hair? Am I alternate universe Brian? I don't know. How's everyone doing tonight? What's the prizes? It's $20 first place is our usual Kahoot. And we do $20 first place and $10 second place. That's our usual like weekly Kahoot. But we are going to have a big mega Kahoot on Sunday. Sunday. Mega Kahoot on Sunday. I'll send out some reminders. But we always do like a pre-test Kahoot on Sunday. And yeah. So get ready for the Sunday Kahoot. Big Kahoot on Sunday, 50, 20, 10. Big prizes on Sunday. And there's not that many people playing tonight. There's not that many people playing right now. Because next week is the test, right? Yep. Lots of good practice. I've got the, after this Kahoot tonight, it's only a 10-question Kahoot, but still lots of fun. Lots of questions on simulation. We'll start here in, let's put a 2-minute timer on. Let's put on the, our 80s music, Hackerman music here. Let's go Hackerman music. Hackerman. Kahoot will be starting here in 2 minutes. So good to see you, Caitlin. Glad you're excited here. 2 minutes. Let's see how many people we have playing the Kahoot. 2 minutes till start of Kahoot. My background is just going to die as per usual. Woohoo! I agree, Sarah. What questions are there? Sampling and also randomness is the Kahoot tonight. Is there lag? How are we doing lag-wise? Are we lagging? Hopefully we're all right. How's everything going with the lag? Little bump. Suddenlink can't handle this. Just a little. No lag. Good. It's weird. I can look at my like drop frames. It says we're streaming 0 drop frames. It did for a second. It's so weird. Like I can look at my drop frames and everything, and it's your stream quality's good. Yeah, maybe I hope it's UTK Wi-Fi. I mean, that's not good, but it's better than they sent an email. Hopefully, because we've had issues before. I've had the stream like cut out once. We will find out. Computers are weird. I agree. Puppet Shark, are you ready to Kahoot here? We'll start up here at the end of the song. The song's almost exactly 2 minutes long. Get ready. We're going to start in here in just a second. Puppet Shark, are you ready? Are you ready to Kahoot, Puppet Shark? Get ready, everybody. You're competing against 17 people. Or 16, rather, if you're one of the 17. Puppet Shark's ready? Let's see how much I remember. Yes, X, good to see you here. Let's start up the Kahoot in 3, 2. So join up if you haven't. Someone might be like, oh, I'm just waiting till it starts, Brian. Here we go. In 3, 2. You said that the last time, Brian. I'm in the future. 1. Here we go. Let's Kahoot. I need to turn the sound back on. 2 seconds. Question number 1. Which of these are good ways to generate random numbers? So which of these are good ways to generate random numbers? Which of these are good ways to generate random numbers? Which of these are good ways to generate random numbers? Hint, there's only one bad way. Well, I mean, there's lots of bad ways, but there's only one on the screen. So good ways to generate random numbers are things like computers. Computers generate them pretty well. You've got coins. Coins, like you can flip a coin for 1 or 2 pretty easily. And you've got random number tables, which a lot of your assignments use. So random number tables are when you see numbers like, here, I'll type some random numbers in the chat. We're really bad. You see, these really aren't random. Need a 0 in. So those are just random numbers there. They're not really random, but a random number table will just have the random numbers. Coins can be used to generate numbers like 1 and 2 or other numbers. Computers are also pretty good at generating random numbers. Our minds are not good random number generators. Let's see right here. Who's in the lead? That's a quick one. Ooh, we got a lot of people. No one got the question wrong, which is awesome. But Fabulous Dove is doing quite well. But Tropical Turtle, I like the alliteration right there. Let's see here. Stellar Meerkat. I'm going with Stellar Meerkat today. Stellar Meerkat, for now, you're the winner. Let's find out who's going to win, though, with question number 2. We can use randomness to help us simulate reality by using random numbers to represent outcomes of real events. True or false? Hopefully no one else is lagging. Oh, we got 20 people playing now? So this is the idea behind this chapter. The idea behind this chapter is how we can use randomness to generate real world events. Is everyone doing good? Are we lagging? Are we fine? Internet doing well tonight? I hope internet's doing well. But we can use randomness to generate numbers right here to simulate real world events. Good. Awesome. Please let me know if we have any issues, and then we'll pause or slow down. So with this right here, we can use randomness. There is a question on your Canvas content basically saying some things are very complicated, like some real world events are very complicated, and we have to use simulations to model them. That's very true. Simulation is basically the idea of creating my language. Oh, awesome. Simulation is basically the idea of, like we did with The Price is Right. If you aren't in my class, we played The Price is Right and we simulated it. So we can always use randomness to help create simulations which can model real world events. Get ready. There's going to be some tougher questions coming up. You might want to have a sheet of paper with the questions coming up. So grab a sheet of paper if you don't have one right now. So I'm going to pause here for 10 seconds and get a sheet of paper out. This is your 10-second warning as we look over here at the leaderboard, because you might need a sheet of paper. Wow. Genius Llama. I mean, you can't stop Genius Llama right there. They were super quick. Genius Llama followed by Agent Sea Lion. Let's find out who's going to win. This is a close game. This is Fabulous Dove is still in the lead. Let's find out. True or false? When creating a list of random numbers, it's best to use a computer program or other method to choose the random numbers for us. I think this is pretty obvious. I think people should get this. It's basically the first question. These are some of the easier questions you might see on there. Wow. Yes. Do not create your own random numbers. We generate random numbers with computers. Statisticians use randomness as a what? 4-letter word. Statisticians use randomness as a what? It helps us take random samples. It helps us simulate events. And statisticians use randomness as a what? I almost said it. Statisticians use randomness as a what? We don't fear it. We're not like, oh, randomness, exactly, Lauren. Statisticians use randomness as a tool. Let's give out some Ubot points right here. Statisticians think randomness is awesome. We use randomness as a tool to help us out with simulating events, and we simulate events, or we take random samples, which we're going to see here in a little bit. Fabulous Dove, are you still in the lead? This is a very, very close game. This is anyone's game. Get ready. It's going to be super quick right here. Slow me down. These questions aren't too difficult yet, but we are going to hit some more difficult ones. Have that sheet of paper out and be ready. Here we go. True or false? Computer simulations are necessary in situations where exact answers are either too complex or impossible to determine. Definitely on the Canvas content quiz. Someone even asked about this today. So if you know your Canvas content quiz, remember Canvas content quiz questions could be on the test. This is definitely on the Canvas content quiz, and it could be on the test, and people are studying up. I mean, are people feeling better? Has anyone aced the Canvas content quiz already? Because people are doing awesome. I feel like this is the all-stars tonight. Like, everyone, we're getting 19. This is awesome right here. Just complete and utter. Like, everyone's, usually there's a bunch of slow answers, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm not trying to go too fast or anything, but you guys are just crushing it. Like, I know, Alexandra, this is awesome. Just, I'm going to play my happy, sad song. This is just awesome. I mean, please ask questions if you have it, but Classy Hawk is just trying to fly into the lead right there. 201 Legends, even X is here helping out. Let's find out what the next question is. Get ready. Here we go. Uh-oh, it got harder. Questions got more difficult. 0 through 7 are right answers. 8 through 9 is wrong answers. Percent of time, all answers are correct. So there are 5 simulations here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 simulations. So the percent of time, all answers are correct. So look through the simulations and find the percent of time, all the answers are correct. It's such slow music. I think they just took their song and slowed it down. So you have to look through the simulation. Like this simulation right here, the first answer is wrong, so that actually eliminates this simulation. This simulation right here, we have a right answer, a wrong answer, so that eliminates it. Right, wrong, right. This one right here, we have correct, 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 correct. Now, what am I doing when I'm saying these are all correct? These are numbers contained in the interval 0 through 7, which are right answers. This one right here starts with a wrong answer, and because it's a number within the 8 through 9 vector. And now we have 1 wrong answer and 4 right answers. How many times do we get all 5 correct? Well, if we look right here, this one looks correct, correct, correct. That's 1 simulation out of 5. And this is another simulation here. There are 5 simulations. Simulation 1, Simulation 2, Simulation 3, Simulation 4, Simulation 5, and 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 simulations. Oh, that separated the class out there. Even if you got this wrong, do you feel like you understand this example right now that we're looking at 0 through 7 are right answers? So we have right here correct, 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 and correct. So in this simulation of 5 trials, we got all the answers correct. So this is a lot like your randomness assignment, where it might say something like, there's limited characters on Kahoot. Sorry, I didn't fully say everything. You can only put like 250, or that's not 200 characters, but you have limited characters. So I tried to do as much as I could in this Kahoot question to turn it into like a simulation question. Oh, that's all right, Caitlin. It seems like people get it. Maybe some people pressed quickly or just misclicked, but there's going to be another. Here's your second opportunity. Get ready, because there's another one. Here's your opportunity to practice. You're going to use these numbers over here to turn these into the actual events that occur. Was it Splendid Dove? Fabulous Dove? No! Just fell off the leaderboard, just flew by. Goodbye, $20. Next Kahoot question. Let's do this. Here we go with the next question. Let's go. Here's the same type of question. Percent of time you get all wrong answers. Percent of time you get all wrong answers. My gosh, I hope I selected the right thing. Percent time all your answers are wrong. This one should be much quicker because 8 through 9 are wrong. Please tell me I selected the right answer here. Oh my gosh, please tell me I did. So what's the percent of time all the answers are wrong? Agent Energy, you've got this. What is the percent of time all your answers are wrong? Now, for them all to be wrong, you'd have to have like 89988. Great job. You'd be looking for something in the sequence here like 88998, 0%, 0 out of 5 trials. And this is a lot like what we're doing right now, where we're seeing like a proportion. So it could say the proportion of time you get all wrong answers. And we're talking where you have all wrong answers out of the 5. Can anyone tell me how many wrong answers there were in this simulation of 5 attempts? In this simulation of 5 attempts, how many wrong answers were there? How many wrong answers were there? There were just 2. The numbers 8 and 9 here represent wrong answers. And yeah, let's say this. Via this simulation, estimate the probability of getting an answer wrong. So here's 2 separate questions, and they're going to sound a little bit different. But via the simulation, estimate the probability of getting a wrong answer. So I'm going to have to figure this out and show the mathematics here. Okay, I got it. Via the simulation, estimate the probability of getting an answer wrong. Is it really going to be that? Well, that's a bummer. It is 20%. It is 20%, and I say it's a bummer because it's found via 5 over 25, because in 5, there's 5 instances. 1, 2, well, 1, not today. 1, 2, is that 8 right there? 3, 4, 5. These 5 numbers here represent getting wrong. But let's say the question was worded a little bit differently, and it said, via the way the simulation is arranged, what is the probability of getting a question wrong? Who can show me the mathematics for via the way the simulation is set up, what's the probability of getting something wrong? Now, I know what the answer is, but I want to see the mathematics for with the way the simulation is created, what's the probability? Not the simulation itself, but the structure, like via the rules of the simulation, what's the probability of getting something wrong? And it'll be the same answer, but the mathematics will be a little bit different. So via the way the simulation was set up, what's the probability of getting something wrong? And I think I did randomly generate these numbers when I created this. Via the way the simulation is set up, what is the probability of getting something wrong? So you want to look over here at this part right here, and a lot of times this question confuses people. Caitlin, great job right there. Let's throw out 100 points. Why not? And it's still going to be mathematically 20%. So there are so Jensen, great answer right there. I appreciate people saying like, wait, I'm confused. How many different possible numbers can be generated right now? So just put this in the chat right now. How many different possible numbers can be generated via and Caitlin's doing a great job explaining the chat. Thank you so much, Caitlin. There are 10 possible numbers that can be generated, and 2 of those numbers that can be generated satisfy the condition of getting a wrong answer. So if we look at the probability of getting a wrong answer via the way the simulation is created, and thank you everybody, another 20 points. I just like when everyone's answering the questions, practicing. Does this make more sense, Jensen and everybody, that yes, Jensen sees it now, yep. And that usually confuses people. That's why I'm kind of mentioning these things here, because a lot of times people are like, what do you mean via the way the simulation is set up, what's the probability of getting an answer wrong? It's like, well, there's 2 possibilities out of the 10 total. And yeah, because a lot of times people go over here, and this would be what we saw in the simulation was 5 out of 25, which is still 20%. Who's going to be in the lead? This is anybody's game. This is anybody's game. Maybe anybody's. This is neck and neck. Tropical Turtle, who was in second place to start, I think. But I'm going for Super Rooster. You can't stop Super Rooster. Watch this. You can't stop, you won't stop. Super Rooster's going to win. Quiz. A researcher is interested in studying UT students, receives a list from UT with emails of students to contact. So what is this? Is this the population parameter, the sample frame, the sample, or the population? They receive a list from UT with emails of students to contact. Here's a hint. They want to study all UT students. That should eliminate one. Be careful. They want to study all UT students. And these 4 words right here are often a point of confusion. Oh, so much. MW, so good to see you. I don't know if you're the one. Were you the one who said hey on Reddit? Thank you so much. Wow, look at that. That's just... Oh, that's the sad music. I clicked the sad music. MW, if you're the one who... I think someone said that on Reddit. They're like, I'm in this and this. And I really appreciate that. If Elon Musk suddenly appears, that'd be... Wow. Be amazing. Where's my wow button? I have destroyed my sound effects. There we go. There we go. So what is a sample frame? When it comes to a sample frame is what? Put it in the chat right here. What's a sample frame? Like, just what should you have on your definitions right now for sample frame? What would be a sample frame? Like definitionally, I can't say that word. As a definition, what is a sample frame? And then it'll make sense if you got this wrong. If you got this wrong, then you'll be like, oh, I see it now. With that definition in front of me, I'm like, it makes sense. Anyone who could theoretically be contacted. So someone might say, wait a minute, Brian, and we'll look at the second most answer here, which I expected a little bit, would be the sample, the list of people we could sample from. So this right here, they want to understand UT students. That's the population. Ella, great answer right there, and everyone great answers. We have here the emails they could contact. So a list of UT students' emails they could contact. And so these are people they could theoretically have spoken to. Exactly who we have access to sample. Now, what does this mean? Why is this not your sample? Explain in the chat for just a moment, like for anyone wondering, why is that not your sample? Like, because these are the students we have access to. Ah, great question, Madison right there. We'll do that one next. And it might be in the questions, so watch out. List that we could sample from, not necessarily do. Sample, great, Sarah, great answers right there, that we don't have to sample everybody. Like it's saying these are the people you could talk to. Now the people you do talk to are going to be your sample. Now, what is the only word that matters in population parameter of interest? I even added on some extra like whipped cream, cherry, sundae on top of it. But what's all that matters in population parameter of interest? When you hear population parameter of interest, the only thing that matters there is what? As I say, population parameter of interest. The only word that really defines that is what? Like when I say population parameter of interest, the only thing to hear is parameter. Great job, Caitlin. Everything else is like redundancy. We're just saying we're interested in this characteristic of the population. A parameter is always for a population, and it's always something we're interested in. So you can literally just say parameter, but do expect to hear people say things like population parameter of interest. It's just extra words. So parameter is the truth. Do you think UT knows what percent of students are in state? Do you think UT knows what percent of students are in state? Do you think UT knows what percent of students are in states? Yes or no? Do you think UT knows this? All the words. I know I have all the words. I have all the best words. I would say UT knows this. So if UT knows this for everybody, what would that be? Would that be a statistic or would that be a parameter? If UT knows this, I'm so sorry, Caitlin. If UT knows this for everybody, would this be a statistic or would this be a parameter? If UT knows it for everybody, it's a parameter. Does that make sense? Now, how could it be a statistic? If you went out and talked to 100 students and asked them, are you in state? Then you would have maybe a sample what. So you would have a sample what for the students that are in state. And this is actually what we've been covering just recently. You'd have a sample, another P right there. You'd have a sample what. You go out and talk to 100 students. You'd have a sample statistic. You'd have a sample proportion, which is a statistic. Does that make sense right there? You'd have a sample statistic. You'd say like, oh, I spoke to people and 52 out of the 100 were in state. So that's a sample proportion of 0.52 or 52%. So a sample statistic will always have a what associated with it. A sample, this is a great note to have. A sample statistic will always have a what associated with it. Another sample something. A sample statistic will always have a sample something associated with it. A sample statistic will always have a sample something associated. Sample statistic will always have a kind of a sample frame. It's the 100 I mentioned. Anytime we have a sample statistic, it'll always come from a sample, and the sample will have a size. That's a good way to notice something in a question. And thank you, everyone, for those answers. Let's throw 100 points out there again. Why not 100 points? I meant to say 20, but you never know. A sample statistic will always be associated with a sample size, which you can say it came from a sample frame and all these things there, which are great, like to make sure to keep all the words. So many words, right? But the sample size is going to always clue you in on that this is a sample statistic. The population parameter is always for what? The population parameter is the truth for what group? Like when I say we have a parameter, that means we have data on how many individuals. Like if I say this is a parameter. So it would differ from a sample statistic where we have a sample of 100 individuals. And Ella, you're right. This is like for everybody. So when UT says like 55% of students are in state, that's a population parameter because that's the truth for all students. If you say I take a sample of 100 students and 52 were in state, that's a sample statistic. Does everyone see the differentiation between sample statistics come from samples, which have a sample size to them? Population parameters are the truth, like some characteristic for a population, and are true, like the true percentage or true mean or true standard deviation for everybody. So those are really great terms to get down and practice, but keep asking those questions. Let's see who's going to win the Kahoot. Thank you so much. Who's going to win? Tropical Turtle still leading the way. And engineering student, you're always welcomed here. Feel free to swing by anytime, especially with stats questions. We love it. Ooh, next question. A researcher is interested in collecting the average time they spend playing Pokemon Go a week. Pokemon Go is the best. The researcher is interested in collecting the average time they spend playing Pokemon Go a week. So what is this right here? I think I've done this properly. You're freaking out. I'm freaking out too. I'm always worried I put in a wrong answer. I'm always worried. Please pass Brian. Please pass Brian. Please have not made a mistake here. Because what should we see? Woo! Someone tell me what's going on with this right here. What's going on right here? What did we mention? What's key right here to remember? It's kind of a trick question. What are we trying to point out right here? I know, right? Future Brian was worried that past Brian made an error. So they're the same thing. It's just the same thing. Keyword parameter, exactly. So it's the same thing. I put questions on here to highlight these points sometimes that this is the same thing. And How would you tell someone what the parameter of interest is? Like, what does it mean when something is the parameter of interest? Like, just talk to me here. Just like pretend I'm a stat student. I'm like, what? I don't understand. Brian keeps doing Pokemon Go, so I don't care about Pokemon Go. Tell me about what this parameter of interest thing is. Like, try to describe in words what they want to find out. Yeah, the characteristic they're interested in. It's the true thing they want to understand. And we probably will never understand it. Like, it's very hard to collect data and get exact, like there's always uncertainty. There's always variation in data. What you're trying to figure out. Yep. These are great definitions to have in your head. It's what like a researcher wants to understand, the truth for an entire population, which is what we want to understand, Caitlin. Excellent work right there. So this is what we want to understand about a population. Apparently, this is what they're interested in. Now, what would be the population of interest or the population? These are the same words right here. Population and population of interest mean the same thing. Keyword is just population right there. It is the truth. Yep. And so what would the population be? So don't worry if you got it wrong. This is just practice right now. What is the population in this example right here? I don't know if it's very clear. I might have said UT students. Well, that gives it away. Who they are studying, like, or what group specifically, like what group they want to understand. So does it make sense? Like, so it wouldn't be Pokemon Go usage would be the parameter. So the parameter they want to understand is Pokemon Go usage, and the people they want to understand. Now, the people they ask are going to be the sample. The people they want to understand would be the population. Does that make sense? Like the population is the group we want to understand. So then the parameter is what we want to understand about that group. And then we take a sample to make, and think of an I word right here. So you make what from your sample towards a population. And this is also on the quiz. You use what sort of statistics, because understanding populations requires what sort of statistics. Exactly. Samples come from populations, and we take samples to make what about population? To make what? Inferences. Exactly. And that is on the quiz too. So you will see like inferential statistics. Exactly, Lauren. Inferential statistics are where we infer characteristics about a population by taking samples. That's the whole point of inferential statistics, to infer about populations by taking samples. I want to imagine if we made a big birthday cake. Has anyone ever had one of those sheet cakes? Here, let's draw one out right here. We got drawing abilities. So you want to go, this is from class today, you want to go to a humongous sheet cake, and you want to see if this sheet cake is any good here. So maybe it's got some strawberry filling inside of it. Who knows? It's got strawberry icing on top of it. And so if this humongous sheet cake right here, there's you, what would be a good sample to take? Let's do this here. Let's take a sample here, or let's take a sample here. Which of these maybe looks more representative? Sample 1 or sample 2? It might be hard to see, but that's the sample 1. I know, sheet cakes are so good. This is humongous. Which of these looks more representative of the sheet cake? The one with one. Oh no, that's probably me. It's about, I cannot see. I would say sample 2, it's got some of the icing on it. It's much more representative. It's not biased in one way. So sample 2 looks more representative of what the cake's actually like than sample 1, which has no icing. Because if you got this sample, you'd be like, well, this is a no icing sheet cake. But the other one, there are areas of the cake that have more icing. And so maybe we'd have to move this down a little bit here to, look at this right here and say like, okay, now sample 2 is much more representative. So if you got a good representative sample of this cake, like imagine you're planning a wedding or something like that, and you were to go and test cakes, you'd say, give me a good representative sample of the cake, because what are you trying to do by taking a sample of a cake? That's just a muffin. What are you trying to do by taking a sample of a cake? You're trying to make what about the whole cake? Just think about it. Like you're going to take a sample of the cake, they're going to cut you a little piece, you're going to try it. So the whole point of taking this sample, if you're going out trying cakes, is to make what? Like make the I word again. We're going to understand the whole cake. Exactly. You're going to take a sample of the cake, a little piece of it, try it to make inferences about the whole cake to see if the whole cake is good. And, think about if they just scraped off. Okay, so now we're going to take a little knife right here. We're going to take a tiny little sample. There's a knife. A+ drawings. So now we're just going to take and scrape off a little bit of here's your plate. And you got a little bit of the frosting on it. So you got to decrease size on this. So there's your plate with a little bit of the frosting. Who thinks that is representative right here? Your plate just has a tiny bit of frosting. You'd say, Brian, that's too small of a sample. It's undercovering other parts of the population. So make sure you have representative samples. I just really want cake for some reason. So continuing on, let's see. No, not good, Brian. Nope. Tropical turtle. We have 2 more questions. Don't leave yet. Ooh, who's going to win here? Let's find out with the next question. There is no cake. Cake is a lie. The researcher decides to take 50 random on-campus students and 70 random off-campus students. What kind of sampling method are they using? Oh, this is a tough one. I know what people usually think. Past Brian knows the answer to this because current Brian knows the answer. All knowledge is shared between past and current Brians. Now, we have to remember the key characteristics of these 2 sampling methods. People often get confused, and the 2 are cluster versus stratified. Step 1 for stratified is going to be what? What is the first step in stratified sampling? What is the first step? Who can help us remember the first step for stratified sampling? These are the ones people usually get confused. Oh, no, Madison, that's all right. And please tell me if you win and send me the email address. Acknowledge a difference, Lauren. You are exactly right. Distinguish a difference. So if you know that, you can see immediately here, oh, that's all right, Jensen. Don't worry. You never know who's going to win. In stratified sampling, we are first going to acknowledge a difference. And so why would we sample 70 off-campus students? Why might we sample 70 off-campus students? And Alexandria, you're right there. We're going to put the population into strata, like different groups we're acknowledging differences between. So why might there be more off-campus students in our sample? Because the population might have more off-campus students in it. If you were to sample students who, if you were to sample majors at UT, what major might you sample more of? If you were to sample majors at UT and I said, okay, we need to take a larger sample from this group, and this would also be stratifying because we're acknowledging a difference. There's differences between majors. So what major might you take more of? And so what are you thinking in your head right now? What are you thinking? Okay, we're probably going to take more of this group, maybe business majors, and what else? I think psychology, supply chain. Why is Brian saying psychology, supply chain, and which majors are the biggest? And so strata are not always in equals parts. Strata will always be relative to the percent of the population. So imagine this. Here, we'll do another classic example right here. And great questions. This is, Kaylin, this is a great time to ask these questions because imagine we go back to my cake factory and Brian makes 2 types of cakes at his factory. And we want to examine the quality of the cakes. We make sheet cake and we also make bundt cakes. So there's the bundt cake right here. And turns out the ratio of sheet cakes we make to bundt cakes we make is going to be a 3-to-1 ratio. So if I told you take a sample of 20 cakes to see if the cakes are any good, we're going to take 20 samples of cakes. Where would your samples be? So here's what we do. We make a 3-to-1 ratio. We make more bundt cakes at our factory than we do sheet cakes. How many sheet cakes would be in your sample and how many bundt cakes would be in your sample? Because you want to see how good the quality of our cakes are. So how many sheet cakes would you take and how many bundt cakes? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this sample size of 20 right here, and we're going to split it up according to the percentages that we have in our population. So we're going to sample with respect to this difference right here, and we are going to sample. It could be, yep. Sometimes I do that, and hopefully, and I like to always hit upon these differences right here. If all classes are equally sized, we could do 25, 25, 25, 25%. And Caitlin, I'm so glad I'm bringing that up now. So with this, we would be stratifying by cake type right here. So this is a stratification. It just matters if all the classes are the same size, then you could take 25, 25, 25, 25. Theoretically, if you were to sample students, do you think you would sample more freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors, and why? Like if you were to make 4 groups of students and you had freshmen, sophomore, junior, or seniors, which group do you think you would take more from with freshmen, sophomore, junior, and seniors? Freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Which one do you think you would take more from? And why? So you're going to say, let's go talk to, would it be seniors? I could be wrong on this. Exactly. That's what I was thinking, Caitlin. I was thinking it's probably more freshmen because there might be more freshmen at UT. If I said sample 1,000 students and the population of UT is something like this right here, this should equal up. If this is the population of UT percentage-wise, and I say sample 1,000 students, your sample to stratify would have what? Where it was cluster sampling of skim 2% whole. Which one is that? Is that on the Canvas content quiz, Jensen? I'll do it if so. We'll review it here at the end. And I'll make sure to draw the difference. If you can tell me which, I think that's Canvas content, right? If so, I'll pull it up and we'll double check and read it. You would sample 310 freshmen because there's more freshmen. And so if you're sampling 1,000, like if I say go out and sample 1,000 students, you would sample 310 from this. So it was an old homework. It had a milk one on it? I'm trying to remember. How was it different from the milk question where it was cluster sample skim? I don't remember that one, Jensen. Oh no, it's a homework one? I might look it up here at the end. I don't know why that one's not ringing a bell in my head. Now, when you take a cluster sample, if you were to technically take a cluster right here, oh yeah, Jensen, thank you so much. If you were to take a cluster sample right here, what would you technically be doing? And what do we do when we take a cluster, which would not be representative? If you took a cluster, clusters are randomly assigned, and then what do? There's one like that on the there is, maybe it's Canvas content? Yeah, let me look on Canvas content, because that sounds more correct, or more like, because I was like, I can't remember it on a homework or quiz. I'll pull up the Canvas content and I'll look at that one. If you were to take a cluster, is picking one of these groups and doing a what on it. So you pick one of these groups or multiple, just depending on how much you need for your sample, and you do a what on it. Oh, no, Jensen, I'll find it here in a second. Thank you, because I was like, yeah, it is running together. I was like, I don't remember that on my Pearson. So if you do a cluster, you're close. You do a census. Great job, Alexandra. So would this be representative right here if we take one of these groups and treat it as a cluster and take a whole bunch? So this would not really be representative. That's why we would stratify by grade level. We would not take a cluster of student grade level like this. That would not be representative. We'll do a few more here at the end, and we'll look at that Canvas content question and make sure we ace it. So who's in the lead? Last question here. Get ready, everybody. This is anybody's leaderboard. Get ready. Get ready here. We got to put on some awesome music right here. Let's make this happen. Puppet Shark, you ready? Puppet Shark's always ready, and Tiny Puppy Shark is ready. Let's make this happen with the final question. Get ready. Here we go. Students who don't play Pokemon Go were less likely to reply to the email sent by the researcher. What kind of bias is this? Students who don't play Pokemon Go were less likely to reply to the emails sent by the researcher. What kind of bias is this? Take a look at the different biases right here. Did we undercover a certain group? Was there response bias in the way the question was worded? Was there voluntary bias? Was there non-response bias? Which one would it be? I thought clusters were the same size, parts of different groups. Clusters are randomly assigned, and then we randomly pick the clusters. Non-response bias, exactly. So I want to point something out right here. Keywording, this one's a little tricky, but when people are not responding, that's the non-response. When people are more likely to respond, that's the voluntary bias. So you're wondering, wait a minute, wouldn't there be some voluntary bias? We could talk about that and say people who play Pokemon Go might be more excited to respond, and then we're talking about a voluntary response bias. But if we mention the people who don't play not responding, that is explicitly non-response bias. So the right here, non-response bias is explicitly when people are not responding because they lack interest or just don't want to take part of our survey. And then they also have different opinions. Voluntary bias is when people are more likely to respond. Non-response bias is kind of the opposite, when people are less likely to respond, like a certain group is less likely to respond, where voluntary is a certain group is more likely to respond. Undercoverage bias would be like if we sent this out to only undergraduate students. Who would we not cover if we sent this out to only undergraduate students? Who would we be missing out on? If we only send this out to undergraduate students, we would undercover which group? We would undercover, I guess you could say non-undergraduate students, so graduate students or non-traditional students, whoever would be not possible for us to sample is undercovered by this. These are when you don't have access to these people. Nice job, Jensen, right there. And response bias, if we have our question worded a certain way that might cause people to respond in a certain way, the way we can influence people to respond. Who won? Who won? Agent Sea Line. Wasn't someone saying that was them? Super Rooster. I was rooting for you. With 10 out of 10. Genius Llama. Wow. I think I can pick those winners right there. Let's pull up that canvas content that Jensen was mentioning. And let's see here. I've got the canvas contents open if someone were to mention one. Why does it not play the rest of the music? That's such a bummer. Sample surveys right here. Okay, there we go. A researcher wants to examine the grams of fat in the milk. Where'd it go? They separate the milk into groups. Whole milk, 2%, low fat. They randomly select cartons from each of the groups to measure the fat content. This is an example of... So they're taking a whole bunch of samples at once. I almost have a little disagreement with this. It is... Okay, good. They are stratifying. Good. I thought it was cluster for a moment. This is going to be stratified right here because they are taking from each group. I wish it mentioned that. So you can see one of the answers right there. I don't myself on the screen. I thought it was going to say cluster, and I was like, I don't agree with that. So this right here is going to be stratifying because they're taking cartons from each one. Now, the carton is not considered a cluster. So they're just taking from each group. It doesn't say with respect to. I think this could be more explicit, like in the way it's talking about it. I don't super love that question. That one is a little tricky. Every 50th person, pretty obvious right there, systematic. Did Jensen win? Oh, man, we didn't even see who the winner was. Jensen, great job right there. We need to give out some points. If you have questions on the Canvas content, let me know. Who got first? Who did get first? I was so like, let's go over there and look at that. I got third. Nice job. I'm Genius Llama. Great experience. Yes, you won, right? I think you did, right? So let's, where's that leaderboard again? Where's the leaderboard? Back to podium. Make sure to email me, Alexandra. Email me with what email, like email me from your UTK email account. That way I know it's you. And then just tell me which email you want it sent to. $20 Amazon gift card. So glad to have you here and win. That's really, I'm super proud. Like people joining their first Kahoot and winning. That's awesome. We're here just to have some fun, learn some statistics. Are there any last questions? Yeah, definitely. And I really appreciate it. Who got second? Anywhere you can go over speedruns of car and the multiplication rule? Yeah, Abigail, let's do it real quick here. Let's hop over and do that one. Do you want to do the second car one? Summit Manjel. We'll do that and then we'll head off here. Quizzes. Got relaxing music on. And let's do the car question real quick. I think it's the second one. That's the trickier one. Do a speed run of it. So wait, let me ask really quickly right here. Do you want me to solve the problem? I did this in an office hours. Great job, Sarah. Congratulations. $10 Amazon gift card. Make sure to contact me. Put your email address such that you're like, hey, Brian, use this email address. Do you want to do a speed run of it, or do you want me to solve it like easier? Like, it's your call, Abigail. Do you want me to full solve or speed run? Your call, Abigail. Your call. Oh, it's not this one? Is it the other one? Let me go to the main screen so you can see a little better. Is it this one? Let me exit out of this. Yeah, Sarah, if you came in second, you won $10 Amazon gift card. So email me from your UTK email address and then say, send the Amazon gift card to this spot. So $10 Amazon gift card. It's the one, like, asking about what is wrong with the reasoning. Is it a chapter 12 one? Yeah. Where's it at? We'll find it. Oh, is this one? Oh, we got this. Traffic checks might suggest on a certain... I bet it's this one right here. It's like, this sounds like a what's wrong with the reasoning one. We did the other ones. If you're wondering about the other ones, we did them during office hours. So check out office hours. I think we've done all on these quizzes. Office hours have a lot of the homework assignments on it. So let's take a look. Put on one more song right here. Yep, we got it. Awesome. We got this one. Watch. Let's talk about it. Let's put on Sad Chill. Traffic checks on a certain section of the highway suggest that 70% of drivers are speeding there. The multiplication rule is 0.7 times 0.7 is 49. The multiplication rule might suggest that 49% chance that 2 vehicles in a row are speeding. I ask this of you. Have you ever driven on the highway? And let's open jump in the background. Have you ever driven on the highway? And what is Brian trying to mimic right here? It's 5 p.m. somewhere. It is 5 p.m. almost in California. And what is happening at 5 p.m. on the highway right here? What's going on at 5 p.m. on the highway? 5 p.m. on the highway. You got it right there, Kaylin. You're on the right track on this. So 5 p.m. on the highway. Here's you, your car X. So there's lots of cars. Everyone's all jammed up. Now you might want to speed, but what's going on? Can you speed? You might want to speed. You might be like, you know what? I'm just going to take off. But your speed is what of the other cars? Think of the D word. Your speed is going to be what on those other cars around you? So you, right there, that's you. Like, I want to go 100 miles per hour. But your speed right now is what? Dependent. And that is the key rule that we're working off of right here, is that to multiply two events, the multiplication rule suggests that two things need to be independent to do the multiplication right here. So if you don't have independent, exactly. So now we can't multiply. So there are cases when the speed of one car is not independent, which means it's dependent, of the speed of another car, so multiplication rule does not apply. Boom. There we go. So you can't say like random car. It's like, well, and it's saying here, I think, 2 cars, right? It says in a row. That's key. It doesn't say 2 cars are randomly selected, which kind of goes into what we're doing nowadays with random selection of cars. So the 2 vehicles in a row are speeding. A good practice of the multiplication rule. Stay here for a half second longer. Class is not over. I'm going to pull something up, though. If you're not in my section, hopefully this can help you. And I should have the last section for this test released later tonight. If you're not in my section, I hope this helps. Where's the randomness rules from probability rules? Here we go. This right here. Take a screenshot of this. Hopefully it helps you out. These are all the rules and how they are connected in the words that apply. So when you have multiplication, you're using the word and you're using the independent rule to multiply 2 events that are independent. You multiply the probabilities. When you use the word or, they're disjoint, and you can subtract, which is the complement. They still need to be disjoint, but complements, by virtue of being complements, are disjoint. And we say like not or but. Let's got that. We'll put on one more song here. Any other last questions? Last questions here. Let me know if you have any more questions. Put the Marvel back on. Some chill music. Great job, everyone, tonight. Test is 8 days from now. It's craziness. Semester is like 63% over. Thank you, Reddit, for always keeping me up to date on that. I like knowing it. Keeps you going strong. Whenever the semester ends, I'll just... Wow. You're welcome, Abigail. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's great stuff. I really like that one person swung by. Like I said, I'm an engineering student. I don't know. It means a lot when people are like, hey, this class seems fun. I'm like, cool. That's my goal. Can you put that table up for 3 more seconds? Of course. Here we go. There you go. There it is right there. Take a screenshot. Thank you so much, Kaylin. And thank you, everybody, for always interacting. My one bit of advice is if you can interact in your other classes, if you want to, do it. Interact in your other classes. Thank you so much, Caitlin. I know it's fun too, Ella. I admit, yes, our class is fun. Because we have fun here. Because we're just like giving out points. How many points do I have? Check with Mubot. Check out my points. I've got ridiculous rank and points in the class. Every semester I reset them, trying to find that fine-tuning of the points. But it's just so fun to give out points. Who doesn't like it when we're just like, star class, 100 points? Well, thank you so much, Kaylin. I've been streaming for 331 hours. I'm at... ridiculous. Got a higher and higher tiers. We got Vol for Life tier. Great job. 21,000 points. I know, right? Because I'm here every time. Whenever I'm streaming, we'll put on one more song, then we'll end off right here. it's just fun. Like, I think that's what is important, is to like, I try to tell other educators that I'm like, which I think a lot of educators, I know a lot of educators that have fun, but I try to tell them like, enjoy teaching. I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, I don't know. When I grew up, I had a lot of teachers I felt like didn't, not a lot, but I had some who I felt really enjoyed it. You can tell if like you're in a class and you're like, I don't know if this person wants to be here, but it's really, you guys brighten my day, guys, gals. I'm from New York. I really mean it. It's like a lot of fun when people are interacting. That's what makes class. So even if your other class, you don't think, if you're having fun, it's easier for us. Exactly. But even if your other class is not as fun, not saying my class is super fun, but you know, if you want to mention or you want to like talk in your other class, I promise your other instructors will be super happy. They're like, whoa, someone's answering. Okay, I'm gonna say one last thing here and then I'll head off. I was reading this thread on Reddit where people were talking about like they fake interactions with their students. And I was like, oh my gosh, come on. They're like, I get observed by my like the people in administration, like I don't know who comes in and watches them. And they're like, I'll fake like Galen saying this. Oh, thank you so much. Like, see, like they're like, I fake it. I put on private messages on Zoom. And then I'm like, yes, that's a great question. So-and-so. No, work for it. Sorry, it's mean for me to say, but don't do that. Work for it, and I'm very happy with what's happening here. I know that I don't comment on that stuff. I try not to bring negativity, and then I mention it here. This is me venting. I understand the frustration. I understand their frustration, like, because some days we're a little more quiet. Some days our class is a little quieter, so I can feel that, like, oh, let's get some answers going. Let's get some learning going. You got to work towards it. You got to be like, how do I bring the energy? How do I bring the energy? How do I bring the positivity? So don't, venting with Brian 101 right here. Bring that energy, bring that positivity. You know what? We can do that. That's what we can do for the world. So with that, as I like to say here, everybody, bye for now, everybody. Be the positivity. Do that for everybody. Bye, everybody. Bye for now. Ah. Be positive.